Good evening. Welcome to the Diamond Awards ceremony pre-show dinner. Tonight, we dine and drink together, all while talking about the nominees, playing cards, and life. No one knows the winners tonight's awards, so it's going to be interesting to hear everybody's predictions. Real quick, let's introduce everyone. Maybe not everyone in the chat knows who everybody is, so one at a time, please introduce yourselves.
I can go first. My name is Kelsey Little. I've been a member of 52 Plus Joker since 2017, and I've been collecting cards pretty heavily since 2013. And I am mainly a modern deck collector, but I also collect vintage decks as well.
Excellent, thank you.
My name is Rosemary Reid, and I started out, as a few of us here did, as a professional magician. I still remain a professional magician. I've been a member of 52 Plus Joker for a couple years now, and I like to collect decks that somehow relate to things going on in the real world, connect to causes, or especially, obviously, if you've read The Real Deal, I have a soft spot for promoting women's work and things that connect to female empowerment.
Great, thank you. Scott, go ahead.
Yeah. My name's Scott Kruise. I'm from Kitchener, and that's in about an hour from Toronto, so I'm Canadian. And I've been a member of 52 Plus Joker for about 6 years now, I think. And I started out collecting modern, but that really quickly switched to my current focus is still antique. So I started by collecting some of the old bicycle decks, which actually you see behind me there, but then kind of branched out into pretty much any antique. I like to have kind of one example of everything, sort of.
One of everything. You must have won the lottery.
Yeah.
The Canadian lottery. They don't tax that. There's no taxes on the Canadian lottery. And Jay, please.
I just got in. What do I need to do?
Just introduce yourself. People would like to know who you are and what you like to collect.
Yeah, I'm Jay Rivard. I live in Massachusetts. I collect everything. I wish I had a niche, but I do like singles because I like the artwork, and I like a lot of the Art Deco stuff, of course. But anything.
That's right. We talked about Diana several times today. Several times. So tonight, we're going to talk about the nominees that are in the running tonight for the Deck of the Year. We've been drinking. Deck of the Year and Artist of the Year. And tonight there's also, I've been told by special people, they're giving away the Dawson Award tonight. So that's pretty special too. But we don't have to talk about that because that's actually chosen by Judy Dawson herself. So if she's around tonight, we'd love to have her pop in. She said she might drop by, so you never know. But tonight we're going to talk about the Deck of the Year and Artist of the Year. And I know that the panel here, they're familiar probably with most of the artists and the decks. But I'm not sure that everyone in the chat room is. So Keith, could you do me a favor? Could we play the nominees very quickly?
The 2021 Diamond Award nominees are Bird Deck by Hilary Pfeiffer, printed by United States Playing Card Company. Charmers by Lautrec Oath Playing Cards and Keller O'Neill, printed by Cardamundi. Circus Playing Cards by Marianne Larson, printed by Noir Arts Playing Card Company. Holographic Legal Tender Version 2 by Jackson Robinson, printed by Expert Playing Card Company. Onda by Alessandra Gagliano and Anthony Holt, printed by Cardamundi. Umbra by Jody Eklund, printed by Legends Playing Card Company. Nominations for Artist of the Year: Stefan Brandt, Alexander Chin, Elettra Daganello, Alessandra Gagliano and Anthony Holt, Marianne Larson, Giovanni Moroni. Congratulations to all the nominees. The winners will be announced in April of next year during our Diamond Awards banquet ceremony. Good luck and see you there.
Oh, sorry. It's dinner. We're having a dinner party. Those were the nominees, and they're amazing, every one of them. So, any predictions? Any predictions for tonight? Scott, what do you think of Artist of the Year?
I was going to ask you to run the names by me again really quick because I was paying more.
Okay, well, I'll tell you what.
You got your mouth full. So I think this one the timing is bad. Okay.
We'll come back. Rosemary, what do you think of Artist of the Year? We'll come back, Scott. We'll come back.
You know what?
Okay,
And if you want, Scott, if you want, I can share some of the names here, Lee, if you'd like, or I can just give you my prediction. What do you?
Both, please, both.
Okay, so we were starting to discuss our predictions for Artist of the Year.
Yes.
Okay, so the names that we were given were Stephen Brandt, Alexander Chin, Elettra DiGianello, Alessandro and Anthony Holt, Alessandra G, pardon me. I don't have her full last name here, and I forget it. Marianne Larson. I believe. Pardon me?
Gagliano,
thank you. And Giovanni Moroni. Those were the names for Artist of the Year. And I have to say, I mean, I did a little bit of legwork before this because I knew we were going to be talking about these designers and these decks. And so I have lots to say about all of these Artists of the Year. Their work is really, really incredible, and all for a variety of different reasons. And I knew this question was coming. So I have to say that I don't think I'll be alone in my prediction, but my prediction is Alexander Chin. And the reason that is my prediction is one of the biggest reasons is his incredible work with the Tuck case. I don't know if anybody here had a chance to look into this. I mean, I'm sure we've all seen it, but it tells the story of, one of the great Greek myths, and I'm Greek for those of you who don't know, so obviously it has a special place in my heart. But when you open the Tuck case, I mean, it's incredible, and it's supposed to look like you were seeing some of the ancient Greek art, like in one of the ruins, and the depth of it is incredible. And the fact that the design continues as you open the tuck on the inside of the tuck and on all of the sides. So there were some really, really wonderful, like the flip books from Stephen Brandt. Again, if you haven't looked them up, check them out. I tried to choose one. Yeah, they're so great. I tried to choose one that was my favorite, and that was challenging. But those are incredibly innovative as well. But I think for me, the Tuck box could take the cake. We'll see. I don't know.
All right. That's great prediction and a great reasoning behind your prediction as I spit food all over the place. Kelsey, what do you think?
Yeah, and I guess to second that, Alex's decks always tell a story. And if you've never sat in one of his presentations, just because it's not just telling a story, he's telling his experience and what he lived through. And I know he pulls a lot from his personal experiences and things that he's gotten to do. So I feel like Giovanni's actually gotten a lot of followers within the past couple of years. I have some of his earlier decks from some of those earlier Kickstarters, and I've definitely seen him get a following. I know for me personally, I would love to see Joku playing cards. So that's Alessandra and Anthony win it. Mainly because, for me personally, just their amount of like customer service. They're, putting together, similar to Alex, decks that tell a story. And, we have kind of a series that talks about those different things, and you get booklets and pamphlets to talk about the history. So I would love for Joker to win, but I also think that Alexander Chin would also that's a pretty good prediction. So I have to agree with you there, Rosemary.
Nice. Jay, you've met Alex Chin before, and I'm trying to think if there's anyone else that's come to the convention. But do you have any thoughts on Artist of the Year?
I feel so unqualified for this.
Right?
No, I love it. I love it because you're a demographic of the club. And, you know, you don't have to know about all the new hot stuff. And there's plenty of people in the room that don't know about all the new hot stuff. So to get your reaction at what you just saw, what do you think?
I like when I see the presentations at the meetings. I think they're awesome. How they intricacies of all the stuff, and you know how they all come together and tell a story. I think it's unbelievable. But is there gonna be videos of the decks? You know.
Yeah. Well, there's going to be an award ceremony.
Right.
And so I can send you a link. I'll send you some links of all the winners, or excuse me, of all the nominees. And at a later date, you can go check them all out. And, you know, from a single standpoint collector, like I would like to know which one you're like, hey, that's cool. I want those. I like those. Because there's some pretty impressive decks. We are drinking over here. And I hope you are too. Throw some ones in the chat if you're drinking. You don't have to drink alcohol, just that you're drinking water, any liquid. I'm cool. It's cool. I'm happy that you're here with us tonight. All right, Scott, we're coming back to you.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts?
I kind of feel unqualified too. I guess I didn't really do my homework here as much as I should have in preparation for this. But I mean, I've met Alex Chin because I've been to the convention when he was there. I probably remember more than once, but and I was there when he designed the club deck that year. And I always really liked that club deck. So yeah, Alexander Chin would be an awesome choice. I saw that one deck that I had noticed before was that circus deck. I don't know if that was a nominee for artist or for deck of the year.
I think that is deck of the year.
Okay. So I guess I'm wrong. We'll come back to that.
No, that's okay. That's okay.
I thought that one was really cool. That was, like I said, I don't really buy many modern decks anymore, but that one was one that I remember catching my eye and saying, you know, I could play with that. Because, I have the original circus deck from USPC, one of those. And so I really like circus themed stuff. I spent a little time in a carnival long ago, so always a topic close to my heart.
As a carny?
But, yeah.
What was your game?
What's that?
Joking. So what was your game? All right. Before we get some predictions about the deck of the year, let's talk about the accoutrement that comes along with some of these decks. I know that Kelsey is a huge fan of that. Maybe you can tell us some insights into some of the cool things you've seen recently.
Yeah, I mean, I know it's a big hurdle, you know, as people that design cards and have Kickstarters, you know, they have all these different add-ons and stuff, but I have a few things to the side here. I mean, I think number one, you gotta have a coin. So this is a bicycle coin from a few years back. I think that's the Cupid back, right?
Yeah, very cool. And that's a neat merger of the antique and the modern, right? Like the hot thing to do right now is coins and Kickstarter, and they're taking a design from the 1880s and they're making it hot again. And that's really cool.
And
so I didn't stop coins. What else?
Nope, you're good. You're good. I love card clips. So this one's from Fulton Playing Cards. And so what's really interesting about this is obviously it's made out of leather, but you know, you kind of have a nice pull tab and it, you know, pulls the deck up so you can easily get it out. Cause I definitely like things that are very like functional.
And when you say it, you mean your SoCal deck.
Yes, there is a SoCal deck in there. Henry is very close to my heart. He's an awesome guy.
Very cool.
Louis Vuitton.
Jay, so I'm sorry, Kelsey, real quick.
Ahead.
Jay, do you have any accoutrement? Like you've been around, you've been collecting for a long time. Do you have like leather cases and coins from decks from past?
I don't have any coins. I have some of the metal things that wrap around like the cards themselves, the decks, the metal.
Oh, you mean like they look like the book spines?
Yes. I have like probably 8 or 10 or 15 of those.
Yeah, those are really cool. Yeah. For those who don't know, and I don't know if you have one within reach, and if you do, grab it. If not, don't worry about it.
All my stuff's on 3rd floor.
All right, don't worry about it. But what Jay's talking about is it's like a metal clip. It's almost like Kelsey, like what you're talking about, metal clip, but it looks like they've painted the edges so it looks like a book spine. And if you put cards in it, then it looks like a book on your shelf, like a small miniature book. And Norman, he's one of our he's a pinup collector. He suggested, he wasn't sure if it was true or not, but Norman Crawford Jr. is his name. He thinks this was for like pinup decks and naughty decks back then, so that, you know, you could remain secretive about your nudie likes, basically. So they would keep it on the shelf like a book. It almost looked like a Bible, believe it or not. So yeah, I think that's what you're talking about, Jay. And that has not made a comeback, I think. Kelsey, have you seen that lately?
No, honestly, anytime someone has a card clip that doesn't hold the tuck box, because I saw someone in the comments mention the metal clip ruins decks. I mean, to me, it more so ruins tucks now. Just depends on how tight it is. But yeah, I don't like to just put straight up cards in a clip. I don't think it holds it well enough. But I mean, if you've got gilding, it looks pretty cool. I actually have a question for Rosemary. So you said that, you know, you're a magician. So what are some of the things that you think is like essential to have in your magician's kit?
Oh, well, that depends on what show you're going to, who you're performing for, if you're performing indoors or outdoors, possibly. Certain cards definitely don't all hold up in some humid or certain conditions. But yeah, I think for me, I mean, I always have probably a couple decks of cards, a couple of things up my sleeve just in case. I usually keep, I mean, I don't know if you were asking in general, it's really all different, performer to performer. I can only tell you what I do, which is heavy on the cards and a couple other smaller props. I do a lot of close-up magic at corporate events or at weddings. If I'm doing something for a larger crowd, then it'll be a different sort of setup. It just kind of depends on what the event is. And then, you know, if you were doing kid shows, obviously you're going to have many different things for a kid show.
But all card tricks still. Totally card tricks. Kids love card tricks.
4-year-olds, they are really great at remembering the cards. So I go heavy on the card tricks for 4-year-olds.
Right. A lot of dealing, a lot of counting, a lot of spelling.
Of counting, yeah. Parents love it. It's educational. That's how I sell my show.
That's very funny. All right, let's talk about our predictions for Deck of the Year.
Oof.
I know, it was a tough one.
This was a tough one.
This
was a tough one.
So many great choices. So, you want to start, Rosemary?
Oh man, you know, I started last time.
Okay.
I call on one of my other fine panelists to begin this.
Fair enough. Kelsey?
I can start. You know, I think, you know, in the past couple of years, and I've been on the committee that helps kind of, you know, starts vetting, you know, these lists and, you know, getting some people maybe that not everybody thinks about. And this group seems to really like the one-off stuff, or maybe the new creators and stuff like that. So I think the circus deck is good in the running. Personally would love to see Jody Eklund finally win one. It definitely needs his due. And again, I always got to put Onda in there because I do love Joku, but I'm gonna go with circus because that's kind of, you know, a relative. I want to say a new designer that we have heard more about within the last year. So to be consistent with the last couple of years, how we've treated the award.
Great predictions. And, you know, you mentioned really quickly, you have been on the Diamond Awards committee before. Mm-hmm. You're not on the committee this year, though, right? So it's not like we're pulling one over and you know who the winner is. And
No. If anything, I throw in a couple of people, but I don't know anything.
That's right. I know, I'll be honest, because I've been drinking. No, but I know who the winners are because I had to put today together. So I know the winners, but I'm going to try my best not to give any hints. But the winner is Lee Asher. Thank you.
Cheers to that. The winner really is Lee Asher.
Thank you.
Winner is us.
Cheers.
Scott,
seriously,
what do you think?
Yeah, I as I said before, I really like the circus deck. I don't, but also the Jackson Robinson, the legal tender, wasn't that?
Oh boy,
also a nominee?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
that deck is hot.
Exactly, and I think you know, that was such a classic innovation, right? When the version 1 of all the legal tender decks. So I think it's a sentimental favorite for me.
Yeah.
Really like it.
And
I think
like Jody, I mean, these guys are constantly being nominated, you know, and
Yeah.
it's nice. It's nice when we see them win. Like I feel like I'm watching that we've won. We've done it.
Yes.
You know, I feel like I'm part of the team, even though I have done nothing, like zero.
Yeah,
But I
that would
feel
be
like I've done a lot.
it would be great to see. It would be great to see Jody win too. Yeah, because actually, I remember being at the new member luncheon with him at the convention in Chicago. Actually,
That's right.
So that's So I met him back then, and yeah, I've always liked his designs. I don't have this one, but I have several of his others. Flying Aces, that deck from a couple of years ago. I have that one. I really love that one. His illustration, his line drawing is always so impeccable. It's like,
Yeah,
you know, aces and whatnot.
absolutely.
So, yeah.
What
So
about Hillary
I
Pfeiffer's bird deck?
Right.
That's really interesting, right, Rosemary? I'm sure you're into how that was made. She cuts every single piece of paper, and like it's a whole artwork project before the card starts.
Yeah,
highly-
I'll be honest. I haven't looked her up. On socials yet. I saw the deck and I have not been able to just stop thinking about, I mean, now that I say it out loud, surely I hope she shared some of the process on it, because I've just been thinking, if you haven't seen the deck, it's made up of tiny cut pieces of paper into images, which in this case are birds. The deck.
Let's try to get some images. Keep talking. We're going to pull some images of the deck up.
Amazing. Yeah, the deck was originally unnamed, and then I believe that when she found out she was going to be nominated, she called it Bird Deck. So it's called Bird Deck. You see the images here, and it's all tiny pieces of paper cut to make these images. So I wish I knew more about her methodology and, you know, how it gets from the paper to the card, and how she chooses the colors and how she comes up with the shapes. I mean, obviously she probably makes incredible scrapbooks, I bet. Or maybe that's an assumption. I don't know. But the deck is very, very cool. So I would say in terms of like innovation of a way to design a deck, man, what great work.
Hey, can you pull up Jackson's decks? Talking about innovation, let me go back to Jackson for a section. We were talking about the holographic. Can you pull that up for a second? Like this is next level. You know, this is the metaverse right here. I don't know if it's the metaverse, but it's awesome.
Yeah, and it's supposed to sort of mimic, I think, like kind of what the you know, how you know your bills are real.
Yeah.
Yeah, the security.
My bills aren't real.
Yeah.
But yeah.
We play with Monopoly
Canadian.
money here. Yeah.
I mean,
Right.
I think it's just a testament to, you know, what these printing companies can do, because these designers are asking for it because they're trying to get an idea across. And it's really, you know, forcing these big companies like Legends, Expert, you know, USPCC to, you know, continue to innovate. Cardamom Day as well. I'd be amiss to not mention them too, but it's really cool getting to see them, you know, bring these projects to life. And that, you know, I mean, we got to give kudos where kudos is due. I mean, these printing companies are having to make this a reality as well. So just from the time that I've been collecting, it's, you know, almost been a decade for me, just to see how far, you know, some of these technological advances have come for printing is pretty impressive.
Absolutely. And I don't know if these manufacturers are kicking and screaming. You know, I think they really want to like push the envelope with the artists. I don't know if they want to go as fast as the artists, but they're definitely there to play. It certainly seems that way.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, for the designers to be able to, like with Jackson Robinson's holographic cards, to be able to bring that to life so beautifully when it hasn't really been done that way before. I mean, the two coming together for it to work out so well is just phenomenal.
Can we bring up Geo? We mentioned Geo earlier, and Kelsey, you were talking about like he's certainly grown his following, and his first deck, the Evil deck. Do you remember that? That was from the playing card.
I don't have it, but I do remember it. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was a playing card form project. Like he won a very early contest that we threw many years ago, and it was, I think the prize was that you got to print some decks with EPCC, and the rest is history. Like he's off to the races. Really fantastic. You want to pull it up? There we go. Look at some of this. Jay, what do you think?
I think they're all wonderful. I love the artwork and everything.
Right? Does it remind you of anything that you've collected from years past? Nothing specific, just like the vibe, the feeling, like, oh yeah, that's cool. You know, I remember that. I got that feeling in 1962. It was a good year, by the way.
The year I was born.
The year of this wine. All right, we have Joe. Can we put Jody on? Let's look at some Jody Eklund.
And this is connected to Norse mythology too, which I always think it's really cool when people connect the art in the decks to, you know, myths or stories, anything, you know, that is happening in the world.
Yeah.
Jody's also done a lot, you know, with historical decks as well. Like Golden Spike was, I think, one of his first ones, if not the first major project that he did. And both him and Gio have really unique styles, obviously very different. You know, Jody's more, you know, on the realistic, and Gio's almost, I don't want to say cartoony because I don't think that that's giving its due, but more curvy lines versus like realism, right? And so they kind of have their, you know, their own specific ways of doing things. And it makes
it's his style.
Yeah.
And it's certainly grown over the years. It's really nice to see. Do you want to bring up Anthony Holt and Alessandra Gagliano?
What's the name?
They are Onda. There we go. Kelsey, do you know, you said they tell stories. You know a lot about these designers. Could you tell us a little something about them?
So they are based in Italy. And so some of the decks that they've put out within the last year, so they've done, and I'm going to butcher these names. I know if Bree was here, she would definitely correct me, but Beltane and, oh my goodness, now I'm going to, Lugan Soth. I'm butchering these names, I know. So basically, all of the seasons. And then they also did, if you were part of the Inner Circle group, which is their kind of like Patreon subscription type service, they're also doing the Cult series. Again, kind of a story that's embedded throughout all of that, but it's like fire, earth, water, and things like that. So they kind of have these like bite-sized series that they put together. And then they also built out kind of their own forum where people, you know, they have kind of the backstory, but then people kind of add on to it as well. So I thought that, you know, that's really unique for them.
Cool. I don't know them. I've never met them, but I would like to. They seem really interesting, and they make some beautiful artwork.
I've asked Anthony. I was like, you should come to the convention. People would love to meet you.
Absolutely. I'm sure I speak on behalf of everyone in the chat room. Yeah, we would. Yeah, we would.
I guess something else that's really cool about what they do is they work with a gilder called Bosquero, I think is how you say it. So they do a lot of the gilding. So one of the questions that I guess have for this group is like, what do you guys think about all of the gilded decks? Because sometimes I love it, but I also feel like it is way overdone. And I guess, what do you think? And maybe this is a question for Jay. What do you think about, you know, the new age of doing this sometimes by machine versus how they used to do it by hand, right?
I like gilding, but I have no idea. I actually looked up a process of how they do it now, and I was thinking about trying it on some of my old crappy ones, but I've never done nothing with it. I do like the effects.
Do you think it has to be gold, or can it be any color?
Oh, I did the blues and everything. I like silver, gold, blue, all of them.
I like when it sparkles. Like, they are doing some crazy stuff with gilding these days.
Like prism,
really crazy.
Stripes,
yeah,
and it's wild.
Yeah. Rosemary, do you have any gilded decks?
You know what? I was just thinking that I don't have any gilded decks. I actually don't. I've only started as a magician. I did my best not to acquire a plethora of decks. And now I've been looking at them more, and I see them obviously on Kickstarter, and to your point, it is happening a lot. However, I understand, as somebody who does really love playing cards, I understand how if you were to design a deck or release a deck, or even just really, really love a deck, the gilded is just so sexy. Like, it's just so, you know, I get why you just want to do it if it's feasible for you and if it fits. And I think the truth of the matter is, even foiling is hot. I mean, it's been hot since I've been on the collecting scene. I don't know if I assume it hasn't always been that way, but as soon as you have foil, like a foiled tuck, or a flashy tuck, I mean, I get the appeal. So so I don't hold it against anybody. And I think that we're really in this world, but for other people who maybe don't consider themselves collectors, but they get decks here and there for whatever reason. Yeah, I mean, why not? The more the merrier, I say.
Absolutely. Scott, before you answer this question, I just want to put out there for everyone in the chat room, if you want to come on and speak and talk about any of the nominees and your predictions, or have a drink with us, or whatever you want to do, we're going to try something new. There's something called emotions. I think it's emotions, isn't it? No, reactions. Reactions. And if you move your cursor, like the little icons will pop up at the bottom of the screen, and you'll see it. It'll say reactions. And if you click that, it'll say raise your hand. And that way we know if you'll want to come on screen. Okay? So go ahead and do that and give us a bit, because we're not going to get to everyone, but we'll get to some. But I want to put it out there. Scott, I was going to talk to you. Gilded Decks, talk to us.
Gilded Decks. I mean, I think they look fantastic, and I love some of my favorite old ones are the ones with the gilding. I think that kind of elevates the deck from among the antique ones. But it's amazing all the different colors they have now. The rainbow, they look great. I don't know, maybe Rosemary could speak to this better than me. I'm not convinced that gilded decks handle as well as regular decks. And because I like to spend a lot of time just in front of the TV, just kind of, not a magician by any means, but just kind of whatever, riffling with the deck and fiddling around with it. And gilding for me, it always feels different. And I don't know if maybe that's not true of all of them, or maybe that just is the way they used to be. Maybe the technology's improved. I'm not sure.
I have heard, Scott, to your point, I have heard that sometimes the gilding can sort of flake off. I assume that would depend on use and stuff. But given the fact that even cards with a lot of ink on them, like a fully colored back or a fully colored face, handle differently, it makes sense that they would handle differently. And I'm not sure that there's something I would use in performance unless it was a one-off or for some very specific reason, but I can't speak to it for sure because I have not tried to perform with them, but I would bet that they do handle differently. But I just still think they look so good.
Exactly.
Scott, nice on a shelf,
from an aesthetic point of view, like they look amazing, right? Yeah, absolutely.
I think that technology's gotten better.
Maybe it's more like for a collecting thing, than actually handling or playing with or working with. But I
think it's gotten better. I don't know if it's perfect. Don't quote me, but I'm pretty sure that things have gotten better. Like most everything has gotten better in printing and technology. So the days of it flaking off and all that, I don't know if we're there anymore. Don't quote me, but I don't know if we're there.
But just in general, the way the foiling and stuff like that and the embossing has improved over the years. Like when I started collecting, just having foiling on the tuck box was like ooh, and now it's like even on the faces of the cards as well. So it's like it's pretty amazing. And at first those didn't always handle all that well either. But I think as they've refined the technology, then they do. I think some of the modern ones, even though they have foiling and embossing and whatnot right on the faces, they still handle great.
Absolutely.
What's the worst ink to have on the back of a deck of cards, Rosemary, for handling?
You said, what's the worst ink?
Like the worst ink color.
The worst ink color. You mean for the audience's perception? Just so that I'm clear on the question.
So like handling. So if you were trying to like fan the deck or for use by a magician.
Yeah. I would say, I don't know about the worst. I would say for real working in the real world, you want to get something that's pretty recognizable. Otherwise, audience members will think that they're trick cards. If you're recording stuff for cardistry or whatnot, as I'm sure lots of people here know, it's nice to have a cool design in the corners for when you're fanning, and some contrast, cards that are sort of monotone wouldn't look as flashy. But I think for work, I perform with bicycles. There's tally hos are great to perform with. There's a lot of good cards you can perform with, but in my experience, if I use anything too out of the ordinary, it just raises suspicion, which in some cases can be okay, if it's going to be a longer performance and you have time to really get to know the audience. But if it's a corporate event and you're spending 5 or 10 minutes with each group and it's kind of get in, get out, you don't really want to spend a few minutes discussing the intricacies of playing cards, because they're there to talk with their friends and don't really care.
Hey, listen, I know we just met, but this is Alexander Chindeck. We're going to open it up. In hindsight, it's probably a bad idea. Nice to meet you. Check this magic out.
Yeah. So I try to save the beautiful art for people who will appreciate it, both in magic and in playing cards. Don't tell the corporate audiences.
Yeah, I got a question.
Yes.
Don't go on too much, but on Facebook I saw something this week. This is the downside of people that don't open their decks. I heard of a couple of the decks that where people they opened them up, they're supposed to be gilded and they weren't gilded. I don't know if you heard that or not.
No, I haven't.
There's something on Facebook. I forget what it was.
That sounds like a surprise.
Yeah. Anyway, I don't know what it was. I saw it on Facebook. Could be not true, not if it's true, but I did see that.
Yeah, no, I don't know if anyone's sitting at home thinking, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to lie about some gilding. That seems like a pretty, if they say that, it might be true, but I don't know. I don't know anything about it.
I just wonder if you heard.
It's like
that would suck. You spend a lot of money, and you open it up, and it's not what you think. That's not what you paid for, and so I'd be upset. I know that happens in other industries. We're not susceptible. We are susceptible. It happened to Logan Paul. He bought a whole bunch of Pokemons, and it wasn't Pokemons. And he spent millions of dollars. And so it happens, and it sucks. And, I hope it doesn't happen to anyone here.
I have no idea. I'm sorry. I just saw that. I didn't know if it was true, if you had any insight as to whether it was true or not. Anyway, sorry.
I wouldn't know. I don't open most of my gilded decks, so they got away with it if they did.
Yeah.
I would like to think it would be an accident, or maybe they accidentally got sent a deck, because normally they have some kind of way to differentiate, right? Because they print like a certain amount, and then they'll gild, a small percentage of that, and usually they'll have like a special sticker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Jay, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt whoever I just interrupted. I think that in a situation like that, it's what happens after. What does a company do after they're told, hey, these don't have gilding? If they ghost, if they go silent, okay, that's a problem. Right. But if, like Kelsey said, it's a mistake. I'm really sorry. We're going to send you a brand new one. Let us know when it arrives.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's cool. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, Scott.
Oh, I'm sorry. It's okay. Now my mouth's full. I don't know. No, I was just going to say, if you never open the deck, it's kind of just like Schrodinger's cat, It's neither gilded or not gilded, right? It's kind of in kind of flux state.
It's both.
That's right. It's both and neither.
I think Rosemary's got me sold on opening some more of my gilded decks.
Oh, fun.
Nice.
Speaking of designers wanting people to open decks, I had the pleasure of speaking with Elettra Di Janello earlier this year. I don't know what time it is anymore, but I wrote an article about her in The Real Deal. And she was saying, I don't think I wrote this, but she shared with me, and I believe she's here with us tonight, that as a designer, she feels a bit sad when people don't open their decks to appreciate, the beautiful foiling and the gilded edges and how the color catches the light and shines in a certain way.
Can we bring up some Elettra? Let's bring up some Elettra as you say this.
She's nominated for Artist of the Year for her Florentia decks, or I guess for both of them. There were 2 editions, and she made a player's edition as well. And they are super historically accurate in terms of Italy's history, Rome's history. She's Italian. She lives in Italy right now. And one of them is, and I'm going to say it wrong, Florentia Antica, which is more earlier history, and then Nueva, I believe it is. I had it pulled up here. Pardon me, Nova, which is the Renaissance time period. And I mean the line work on these cards, it's very, very, they're wonderful. And as I say, there's an article about her in The Real Deal if you want to go check that out. So congratulations to Electra for her nomination on Artist of the Year. And as I said, she really wishes people would, open up the cards to appreciate their beauty. Of course, Alexander Chin's deck says, do not open these cards.
Can we show some Alex? Let's show some Alex here.
Yeah, alluding to Pandora's box, which is the myth that the court cards take us through of this deck. And, for those of you who don't know, if you open Pandora's box, it basically lets out all of the evils into the world. The only thing left in the box is the hope that we can all hold on to. So you see that depicted here on his court cards. And it's amazing to me that he says, don't open the tuck. And yet when you do look at it, it's so beautiful. It's so beautiful. Just look at it. I mean, wow.
But now you're cursed. That's why you don't have.
Exactly.
Cursed.
You are Pandora.
Over the last 2 years.
Yeah.
I didn't open mine. I got 2. They have not been touched. Probably. I don't want to go through anything worse than what we're going through right now.
Do we have any of the Stephen Brandt art? He's the one he's nominated for Artist of the Year as well. And if there's a video, I don't know if you flip through it and it tells a story. It's like a flip book. Any magicians in the room might know cartoon. It's like a flip book, and the images actually move. They're all really great. I think Quackington, I hope I said that right. Quackington and the Wizard of Oz one were 2 of my favorites, but they're really all wonderful. Yeah,
we don't have any moving images of. Excuse me.
But see those sketches in the corners there, they'll move as you flip through all the cards. The little sketches on the opposite side of the pit.
If you go to his website, you'll get to see all of it. Sadly, we did not bring any of that into our folders. We just have the images that were for the nominees that Don gave us. But it's really cool. Yeah. And he's an interesting guy. He's a really interesting guy. He told me that he's sorry he couldn't be here tonight. He's moving across country, but he sends us his regards. And so I'm really happy that he's a nominee, because that's a very interesting new take. I don't want to say new. It's what he does, what he brings to it is pretty new. So if you don't know about him, go check him out.
Like the more detailed version of. Oh, go ahead.
No, please go ahead, Kelsey. I've also been drinking and never stopped talking.
I was gonna say, the flipbook stuff is not. I mean, I think he just did a really good job of making very detailed images, because you have Optrix, right? That does I think it's the mechanic decks and stuff like that, and it has a nice the gears change on the back. But that's what I really liked about Steven's work, is that it's very detailed images. So to think about designing all of that, kind of stop motion, in a way, but it's just very, very detailed. So again, the amount of hours to put that together is pretty good. I have one of his decks. I think I bought the Alice in Wonderland decks because I knew that Bree would love it. So I was like, hey, you get to have your own collection. I figured you would like this one. So
that's super fun. Did you? You haven't opened them. I was just going to ask, did you open them?
No, but I can. Let me open one.
I mean, you're
gonna open it right now?
No, no pressure, but
yeah, no.
All right, hold on. Don't open it yet. I want to talk about Charmers. We haven't talked about Charmers yet. I want to make sure that all the nominees get covered. It's really important. And we still have about 15 minutes, Kelsey. So let's save that for one of the final moments. Look at these, Lautrec and Keller O'Neill, both members of the club. Everyone's a member of the club.
And these were designed to be used by magicians, as I understand.
Yes, Keller is a magician. He's got a wonderful traveling show. He tours all over the South. Or at least when magicians were touring. I don't know how many magicians are touring right now.
Yeah.
And it's Lautrec. It's pretty impressive stuff.
Yep.
There's
a few different colorways.
And there's that gilding again.
I wanted to mention when the circus cards came up was that a really interesting choice they made for that Deck of the Year nomination was putting their seal on the bottom of the tuck case. And I believe they're all numbered. And I think there's something else unique about them. I think to make it look like a ticket to a show. But I mean, I'm sure I assume maybe it's happened before. I've never seen a deck with the seal on the bottom of the tuck case. So I thought that was a really, really cool choice. And I find it fascinating how with playing cards, it's it seems like a simple choice, you move the seal and onto the bottom, and yet it plays so differently and informs their
Let's bring up some circus.
Purpose.
Let's bring up circus.
So differently.
It's Marianne Larson and Martin Helgren.
So we'll see yeah.
Do we know if this is their like first deck, or have they created a lot in the past?
I believe this is their first deck. Like, they're new to the scene. I don't know their names. Not that I know everything.
But if he's ever known it, he will remember it.
My memory's terrible. I don't know if anyone knows that.
That's the bottom seal.
Wow.
That looks like a ticket to a show.
Yeah.
So I think it's pretty cool. They managed to bring their whole theme, all the way through, right down to the seal and the way they used it. It's pretty awesome. Oh, and somebody's saying in the chat that Jody did it for his decks. Oh, okay, great. So two of the Deck of the Year nominees. Did Jody do it in his Umbra deck? Neural said that in the chat. We'll see if anybody.
Meanwhile,
and there's a couple of them. Yeah. So as I said, I figured it wasn't the first time, but I still think it's a super cool choice.
Absolutely. It actually adds this like extra layer, like you were saying. It's super cool.
Yep.
Erica.
I was going to say, we had someone raise their hand. Go ahead.
Yeah, Erica raised her hand, and she'd like to come in. Maybe she'd like to talk about her predictions.
Oh, so I was making bottles when you were talking a lot about gilding and handling.
We were drinking bottles while you were making bottles.
There you go. But I just wanted to put in that Kingstar, which I know I talked about them earlier, but their gilding handles really well. If anybody backed the Three Kingdoms Kickstarter, that is a Kingstar deck, and it's like fulfilling now. So if you like the flashy stuff, but you still want it to handle well, I'd recommend trying to find a Kingstar deck. And then the seals on the bottom, a lot of the Kingstar decks do that too. I'm a fan because I open every single deck I get. I can't stand leaving them closed. But I do think there are people who are kind of bummed out that you have a limited deck and you can open it and then close it and no one would know. I guess if it didn't come with cellophane anyway. So, yeah.
Absolutely. What are your predictions for tonight? Artist of the Year.
Ooh. On the spot. Oh my goodness.
No, I don't know. I every single nomination, I was like torn between 2 or 3 different ones. I think it was just a really strong year. I mean, I'm easy to please, so maybe that's it.
Who would you like to see win? Just as hard of a question.
It's getting hot in here.
I don't know. I mean, I think with Joku being relatively new, them getting that sort of recognition would be cool for them. But I love everybody else too. And so I can't really just decide based on who's movie, I suppose.
I wonder, I have a question, I guess, for everybody, anybody who voted or who has voted on these in the past. I wonder, because we just select one, we don't select different categories. And I wonder how much things like, what kind of dictates our vote? Is it the art being beautiful? Is it innovations in tuck design or deck design? Is it a combination? I wonder, I mean, I assume Lee might have some thoughts because it seems like he thinks about, I mean, we all probably think about this stuff a lot, but I would find that interesting.
It's a great question. I am not on the Diamond Awards committee. I mean, I'm the president and I see everything, but Don runs it, and then there are committee members, and Kelsey would probably know better because she's been a member. She's a committee member before, but I'm not. I actually abstain from everything until members get to vote, and I vote like I'm a member, and that's important because I don't want to taint anything. So, Kelsey, do you have any insights?
Yeah, I mean, we just try to grab as many artists and decks as possible. It's really, really difficult and almost impossible to have a list from, the range of time, the last year. But we have a very diverse committee. So you have people that like some of the older decks. So maybe the influences on the art, they like kind of that older style, or is, how traditional is it towards USPCC? I'm a modern collector. I mean, I like Fontaine myself. I know that brand in particular can be pretty controversial for some people, but, Erica, I think that you had mentioned earlier, that you owned Babylon, and that had, UV ink printing. So, even though it's a quote unquote lazy design, they did some technological advances, but all that to say, we have a very diverse group of people, a lot of people involved in Kickstarter. So and I think that's the reason why you see so many of these new creators on here, is because it's not, we always want to nominate people that are, new and up and coming, because a lot of times they do things a little bit differently. So I think it's artwork. I think it's, personal preference. I mean, do you know the artist, personally? And are you part of their Patreon? I think there's a lot of variables in it, but I think because we have such a diverse group of people kind of helping put together that list, and then, obviously we kind of cast the net and see if anybody else has any nominations that they want to put out there. I think it's pretty representative of the last year, of card collecting.
And if you want to join the Diamond Awards committee, woo!
I'm not even drinking and I'm stumbling over my words, so you're fine.
Right.
Long day.
If you want to join the DAC committee, let's say it that way, Don Boyer has his email in the ceremony tonight. So just pay attention for that. It comes near the end. But you should write him, and you should join the committee if you want to see. If you want your deck, if you see a deck that you love and know the artist you know is not on the list, make sure that you're on the committee. That's the best advice I can give. Jay, any final thoughts? We're coming to the end here. Any final thoughts as a singles collector, watching all of this innovation and amazing things happening? What do you think?
I was going to share that I never voted because I never felt qualified enough. I figured I'm not really into it as much as all these people, and I didn't want to taint the vote, like somebody said. I didn't want to, I feel there's more qualified people than me.
No, if you're a member, you're qualified. That's how it works. It's like the Academy Awards. Like you're in the Academy. You got to vote. You don't have to vote, but we like when you vote. And when you get the ballot, you get to see some images, and there's a link if you want to go learn more. So we try our best to make sure that you get to learn about each of the nominees, and your vote, makes sense and counts, because your voice is important.
Are the winners based on number of votes alone, or are there other factors that maybe we don't know about? Just curious.
No.
Out of
just votes alone.
Just votes alone.
It's a numbers. It's done through Google Forms, so there's a pie chart at the end, and it shows us who the winner is. Are the winners.
It's not weighted.
Sorry?
It's not weighted.
Yeah.
No.
Cool.
No, there's no bell curve. And like I say, I know that Don and I certainly we don't talk about, we don't try to taint, like you said, Jay, we don't taint any of the jury. And I only vote when the rest of the membership votes. So we try our best. We do really try our best. Scott, any last words? Not that we know something that you don't know. I meant for tonight.
Yeah, no, and I think all of the decks and all the artists nominated are amazing. I think I'm just talking about what goes into a great deck there. I think it's the way all the different elements hang together. That's kind of what I look for in a collector, the way the tuck and the back design and the aces and the joker and the overall theme of the deck, kind of how all the different elements work together. And I think all of the nominees and artists tonight show that to a certain extent. And I've really enjoyed this panel. Thanks a lot. It was great being with Jay, Kelsey, and Rosemary. I promise next time I'll do my homework a little better.
No. Wait, we're not judging. We judged you years ago.
I'll take an incomplete also.
Kelsey, final words. We only have a few minutes because I want to do a toast before the end. So I'm not trying to tell you to make it quick. We only have a few minutes.
Thanks for having me on. Congrats to all the nominees and best of luck.
Well said.
Yes,
Rosemary.
thank you. Thank you also for having me. Thank you, Lee, for an epic day. Best of luck to all the nominees. It's amazing you've been nominated, and I can't wait to see who wins. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. We just have, that went quick. I thought we were going to have a few more minutes. Do a toast, but it's only going to take like 60 seconds. So final predictions for the audience. In the chat room, put your predictions. Artist of the year, deck of the year. We'd love to see your thoughts. If you've had a good time today. It's been a lot of fun.
Yeah, let's get some ones in the chat for our host, Lee Asher. I mean, look, it seems like a simple day, but the amount of work that goes in to the private island game, to all of it, it's just incredible. Lee has done an insanely good job. And as a person in show business, can I just say how much I respect you sticking to a schedule, Lee Asher?
Thank you.
I will always come to your events because you know how to throw them. That's all it is. Get some ones in the chat for Lee.
I appreciate that. Let's pour some wine. Get your wine topped up.
I have enough wine in my
those
bottle
words make
for
me blush.
others, so
and this wine makes me blush. All right. Thank you. I appreciate that. Those are little details. We do try to start on time. We are like a well-oiled machine over here. Well, not about oiled anymore. We're a well-cooked machine right now.
Keith Brown, of course. Fellow.
Right. You don't see him, but Keith Brown right here. He's doing an amazing job.
Killing the game.
We're trying our best. And if you have any ideas or you have some thoughts about today or you've got some funny thoughts, things we need to do, get in touch. We need help.
Yeah,
we need as much help as possible.
Help.
Yeah. And it could be for anything. It could be for the socials. It could be for the live events. It could be for the digital events. It could be for anything. Just get in touch. Lee@leeasher.com. Okay, I'm just still trying to, kill about 60 seconds. Talking about being on time. We're early. Top up your drinks. It doesn't have to be wine. You can be drinking water.
After a day like today, who wouldn't want to help? This club is doing so well and doing so many great things. I really can't wait to see who comes through for our next event. Hopefully in person. That would be so incredible to meet people in person. Wow.
Absolutely. And we'll talk about that in a moment.
I was going to say, is the convention live this year?
I cannot answer your question right now. You are getting ahead of schedule, Kelsey. But
sorry.
All right, hold up your glasses. Please raise your glass to all the 2021 Deck and Artist of the Year nominees before our final lines get stomped on. Nominees, if you're listening, know that each one of you is making an impact in the lives of others, us, and we're here tonight to honor your accomplishments and validate your hard work and dedication to creating incredible playing cards. No matter the results tonight, you're all winners in our eyes. Cheers. Okay, I think it's time. You ready? I'm ready. Put some ones in the chat, and I mean as many ones as you can put in there, because it is time for the 2021 Diamond Awards.